Okay, so today I'm going to talk about cue-dependent learning. Now, I forgot what book this was in, but cue-dependent learning is pretty much how something responds with your brain, like your brain's response to something, and how you become dependent on that response. This is going to be one of my best episodes because this is like everywhere. So take the cell phone, for example, which is this is where you see it the most. So let's just look at society nowadays and how so many people are dependent on notifications on their phone, right? So let's just say somebody develops, let's just take like a female, right? Like females, I would say 70 to 80% of females in this era in 2022 are addicted to phone notifications. Now, as time goes on, you may become dependent on a certain application notification that hits your brain. That cue, that buzz, or let's just take the vibration of a phone in general, is cue dependent learning. Because now you're dependent, like that vibration hits the brain and then they become addicted to that vibration. Even if it's not even like what you want it to be, just the fact that it's vibrating. And it's like, now you're cue dependent. Now it's levels to that because somebody could be on Tinder, right? So they're addicted to dating apps. So now they like the feeling of that dating app hitting their brain, even though it's not necessarily doing anything. It's just hitting the brain. And that's how people become addicted, through the push notification. But the push notification is the cue that you're becoming dependent on. Like take me, for example. Like me, I'm addicted to like Stripe payments or PayPal payment notifications or Shopify payment notifications. Like Shopify sends me, oh, order came in, or this invoice was accepted, or PayPal's like, oh, you got an invoice. Like I'm dependent on that. I'm cue dependent on that. But that dependency gives me money, right? But some people have a cue dependency on something that has no return value. Like you take guys who are addicted to like pornography, right? Or just females in general on their phone. That's cue dependent. But there's no result in that. You just see a female. Now you get this big hit to your brain. So it's a dopamine hit, right? So now you're cue dependent on that. And you become dependent. And the more you become dependent on it, now you need it because that cue is what you need, right? That's universal. It's universal. This is going to be a series because this is a powerful discovery, especially nowadays. Like cue dependency, it's like out of this world. Like it could be the difference between someone who's broke and somebody who's rich. Because you take somebody who can create a Tinder, and then you take somebody who's getting Tinder notifications, right? The person who created the Tinder, he's getting you just made another 10 million this month or something. But the guy who's on the Tinder app, he's just getting new person added you or something, right? So now he's cue dependent on that, but there's no result into that. And this can be retrained, right? Because the modern era allows you to communicate with a lot of different people. So you can literally retrain your brain outside of that. And I learned that from Ty Lopez and Elliot Host. So people who say Ty Lopez is a scammer, they don't get what he's doing. They don't really understand what he's doing. Like I remember he used to say he has no notifications on his phone. And I see why. because you're becoming cue dependent on whatever you're doing. And this is everywhere. You take people who shop, right? So take people who shop. They become cue dependent on that feeling of buying this. That's why so many people value like Gucci and Louis Vuitton and all this stuff. And Jordan and anything. Even sports fans and gamblers. It's everywhere. Like, you take people who love sports, right? People who watch sports. They're cue dependent on hearing an announcer guy talk all day, or hearing touchdown, or, oh, he scores a 3-pointer, blah, blah, blah. Like, they become so addicted to hearing that they don't even have to watch the game to just have it running all day, right? So they just have it running all day. And it's like, now you're cue dependent, right? So now you become cue dependent on that. So, that's why sports make so much money, because they're giving cue dependency at a mass rate. So you got gambling, you got the sports announcer, you got touchdown, you got jerseys, you got jersey sales, you got worship. So people worship different players. So, oh, I like this player, and now you're dependent on that player, this player, and then this player, he's not good. You got people who follow a player from high school or middle school all the way up to NFL or something, and then the player's not good, and it's like, what did you just do? Like, that wasn't smart. You became cue dependent on that instead of something that was beneficial to you. That's the value of selfishness. Like, when you're selfish, now those cue dependencies are in your favor, right? You see what I mean? That's a powerful concept, and it's everywhere. Like, even me, like, I find myself being cue dependent on YouTube. Like, I'm thinking about just not watching YouTube. But the reason I watch YouTube is because it's the best education. Like, you can't, like, people are like, oh, I'm going to stop watching YouTube. I'm going to stop watching. Like, saying you're going to stop watching YouTube is like saying, I'm going to stop using Google Maps, but you take a trip somewhere and you don't know where to go. Because YouTube has created dependency through education. I'm not even going to say YouTube created it. It's the great people who are providing the great content. Like, the content nowadays is so good because content now is a professional sport. So it's good because people are learning. Like, learning is the new cool to me. Like, even like, I don't even watch like comedy or like trolls or like people like that, because I think, like, when I see somebody watching that stuff, I think cue dependency. I think, like, okay, you need something to laugh at, or you need this, or you need that. And it's like, I just feel like I should just be making money. That's how I feel. Like, I feel like your brain dopamine is being fried as you watch that stuff. That's why I don't have a TV or nothing. I don't have a TV. I don't watch TV. And I'm thinking about just stop listening to music, because music is cue dependency too. Like, you can get addicted to a certain song. Now you're singing that song, and it's like that song hasn't provided you any value, but it's in your brain. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can quote books just as much as I can quote a song. But a person who can quote a book is more powerful than somebody who has songs in their head. Unless they're a DJ, right? Because then a DJ, he has power. But somebody who just know a song is like, that's all, But a person who knows books, now they're leveraging power. They have perception behind what they see, right? But a person who just knows a song, they're just singing or something, right? Like, it's a good feeling, but that's all it is. That's all it is. Like, a song can be bad. Like, just take like simp music, right? Let's take like music that focuses on, oh, I love you, oh, I love and love, because love is the most searched word on Instagram. I think love is the number one hashtag on Instagram, believe it or not. That's crazy if you think about it. That's amazing. And that's engineered too. Because, how can you say love, right? And you talk about love, and you got like millions and thousands of OnlyFans girls, right? That's money. That's money generated through love. Money, money, money. You know what I'm saying? And even if you look at love, like that's Q dependency as well. Q dependency. Like love can be a dependency. Like, oh, I'm dependent on this because I don't have nothing, but I have love, right? Like, that's a dependency too. It's engineered dependency. Like, even if you look at the richest women in the world, all the richest women in the world are rich through divorce. You know what I'm saying? Is that love? So a man spends 70 years of his life working to make $500 million, and then he gets divorced. And the woman she didn't do anything. She just said, I don't want you anymore. And then she makes $400 million. And now she's one of the richest people on earth for doing nothing. But the guy, he like fought in a war. He started a business. He worked overtime. He endured pain. But then he gets his money took because he loved. Right? That's dependency. That's Q dependency. He was dependent on that love when it came. He was dependent on it. And he lost what he was dependent on, which was pain. Like, pain is pain could be bad but if you're not acknowledging it as Q dependency, then pain can be bad. But me, I acknowledge pain. Like, I take it for what it is. Because I just see it as a competitive advantage. Because most people, they can't handle pain. Like, look at the stuff I talk about. A lot of people be like, oh, he's crazy, or he's out of his mind or something. Like no, I've just endured pain. And a lot of people, they can't do it. That's why love exists. Love exists to cure people's pain. To me. That's just my opinion. Like, yeah, it's a good feeling, but in this world, in this 2022, it's like, it's gone. Like, I think that whole romance and all that stuff is gone. Like, the social media and, the women's Q dependency, women's dependency on notifications, and even just money in general killed it. Because a woman could easily leverage what other guys are giving her, right? So she doesn't really have to do anything. So, like, there's always a way out. There's always a way out. Because a lot of guys, they want their Q dependency on the female as well. Like, there's not many guys who benefit off, like, being Q dependency, having a Q dependency on women. Like, usually it works not in your favor. Like, you're more likely to fail if you're Q dependency on women. But a woman that's Q dependency on men is more likely to succeed. And that's just what it is. Even if she's not, then it's still an option.